On camera, she laughed while she badgered her staff. And so all good things must end. And also the Ellen DeGeneres show. Yes, the 83-year-old entertainer just announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show will be its last. Apparently, she created a workplace more toxic than an Amazon warehouse in Chernobyl. Countless allegations surfaced last summer that the show's work environment was rife with harassment and discrimination. Following those charges, Ellen's ratings dropped faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band.
Ellen DeGeneres always told us to be kind, but Megyn Kelly and Greg Gutfeld just said, be ready, because they're ripping through Ellen's squeaky clean reputation like it's a half-off sale at Bed Bath & Beyond. Forget the dancing, forget the dad jokes. This expose has more drama than a Real Housewives reunion with Chardonnay flying in every direction. So, what did Ellen actually do? Why are Hollywood insiders suddenly tight-lipped? And how did Greg Gutfeld get involved? Buckle up. This rabbit hole is glittery, messy, and full of secrets.
Led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right.
Once upon a time in the enchanted kingdom of Hollywood, where publicists run wild and egos rival Marvel movie budgets, there ruled a queen with a pixie cut and a platinum smile. She danced, she hugged, she handed out oversized checks like Oprah in Converse. Her name? Ellen DeGeneres, the reigning saint of being nice. Or at least, that's the version the world was sold.
It was just the excuse. She is, Emily, I watched her comedy special. It was like a huge pity party. It was about how she was lamenting how her reputation has suffered. She's essentially as popular as a pit bull with monkeypox. But she's putting this on Trump. Do you think that she's going to be, just everybody's going to love her?
Behind the scenes, let's just say, if Willy Wonka ran his chocolate factory like Ellen ran her show, the Oompa Loompas would have filed HR complaints by season 3. For years, Ellen's image was so squeaky clean you could serve brunch on it. Her brand? Pure sunshine, dipped in rainbows, topped with dairy-free whipped cream. But beneath the glittering surface, the empire of kindness was rotting. And the termites? They wore headsets, cried in green rooms, and dodged eye contact like it was dodgeball day at a therapy retreat.
Question for you on this. This is perfect for you because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty.
Then came Megyn Kelly. If Ellen was the empress of feel-good vibes, Megyn was the leather jacket-wearing vigilante of media hypocrisy, bulldozing her way through every PR fairy tale in sight. She didn't tiptoe into the story. She kicked the door off its hinges, flipped the kindness couch, and pointed straight at the toxic mess hiding underneath. Megyn came armed, not with gossip, but with a high-powered opinion printer that never jammed. While the world tried to dismiss the Ellen scandal as just another 2020 fever dream, Megyn stormed into the ashes, torch in hand, ready to burn the narrative down.
All right, so Ellen and her wife, Portia, have left their millionaire haven of Montecito for England. Now, they're saying they'll never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Do you think that's the reason why she's leaving?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellen got canceled for real a few years ago from just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a single comment she said or something she did. Just lots of people saying that working for her was a living nightmare and that she's a jerk.
The issue Megyn Kelly spotlighted wasn't just whether Ellen did or didn't make interns cry. The real scandal, she argued, was the silence. The collective shrug from the media, like everyone already knew and no one cared. Megyn, ever the surgical scalpel slicing through soft hypocrisy, asked the question that made Hollywood squirm like a plastic surgeon caught offering discounts on Groupon. If a conservative woman had even a fraction of Ellen's workplace complaints, would she be hosting anything other than her own deposition? She didn't stop at Ellen. Megyn turned her media microscope onto the entire Hollywood protection racket. The red carpet, she pointed out, isn't just for glamour. It's a giant excuse mat where celebrities with the right opinions get to scrub their scandals clean before waltzing onto daytime TV. In Megyn's eyes, Ellen's downfall wasn't a tragedy. It was a long overdue audit. The whole "be kind" mantra, nothing more than a bumper sticker slapped on the back of an emotional hit and run. And then came Greg Gutfeld. You know, the guy who looks like he teaches night school sarcasm in a fallout shelter while sipping Red Bull through a crazy straw. If Megyn played the prosecutor, Gutfeld was the insult comic delivering a roast at the defendant's trial. Gloves off, punchlines loaded.
I think also
I'm
to
just
admit
like,
your
of
mistakes.
all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure.
Greg Gutfeld didn't approach the Ellen scandal with a scalpel. He showed up with a chainsaw. Not out of malice, mind you, but because Gutfeld's entire brand is roasting the absurdity of Hollywood like it's his full-time cardio. He's the guy who's watched too many Bond villains and decided their monologues were just auditions for his punchlines. One glance at Ellen's crumbling image, and he asked the real question: since when did "be kind" mean running a workplace? That felt like a cross between a dystopian boot camp and a yoga studio managed by Satan's intern. If kindness was a mask, Ellen's had more layers than a Kardashian wedding cake at their third divorce party. Gutfeld didn't just jab, he launched a full-blown comedy blitz. In his eyes, Ellen wasn't a beloved talk show host fallen from grace. She was a glitching Disney animatronic, smiling on cue, radiating fake empathy, and terrifying everyone within a 10-foot radius, like hugging a blender. While Megyn dissected the media's complicit silence, Gutfeld lit a satirical match and danced in the flames. He imagined an Ellen spin-off where guests wear helmets, staff communicates via post-it notes, and dancing is replaced with mandatory HR briefings. The queen of kindness, more like the empress of enforced cheer.
Told the Today Show, home of Matt Lauer, that the bad press actually had nothing to do with her decision. Right, and the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg, it chose to sink.
If it was why I was quitting, I would have not come back this year. I really did think about not coming back because it did, it was devastating. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy.
No, the real reason, she says, is it was just too easy. Telling the Hollywood Reporter, quote, when you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is, and as fun as it is, it's just not a challenge anymore. Well, if that's true, here's an idea. When your viewership is down 43%, why not consider that the challenge?
What made this double takedown so explosive wasn't just the target. It was the contrast in approach. Megyn Kelly came in with journalistic scalpels, sharp, deliberate, and aimed straight at the press that treated Ellen like a rescue kitten spun from cashmere and dollar signs. Gutfeld? He arrived grinning, armed with a flamethrower and zero interest in subtlety. While Megyn dissected Hollywood's favorite double standards, how identity can shield behavior, how some stars get redemption arcs while others get public bonfires. Greg asked the obvious: why hasn't anyone made a sitcom about Ellen's green room yet? His answer: HBO passed. It was too dark for premium cable. Meanwhile, the celebrity world went suspiciously quiet. The same crowd that once applauded Ellen's every dad joke like it was gospel suddenly caught a case of collective laryngitis. A few offered lukewarm Instagram statements that read like they were double-checking their NDAs before posting. The rest simply disappeared, leaving Ellen to exit stage left with fewer allies than a sitcom on its third reboot. And Megyn didn't let up. She skewered the media for treating Ellen's public apologies like they were handwritten psalms, conveniently ignoring the thick layer of PR gloss. The public saw sincerity. Megyn saw a focus group Frankenstein stitched together with desperation and dental floss.
let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen. To get over it, you have to deal with resentment and address it. And then otherwise you're going to fall back into this.
Megyn Kelly posed the uncomfortable question, why do we excuse bad behavior just because it comes wrapped in charm and celebrity smiles? That was Ellen's true sleight of hand, convincing America that grinning at A-listers and giving away gift cards made her a moral authority. Meanwhile, her staff allegedly attended monthly meetings titled How to Avoid Eye Contact and Still Get Paid. Not to be outdone, Greg Gutfeld turned Ellen's downfall into a comedy masterclass in chaos. He compared her farewell season to a hostage video filmed on a pastel set, where even the plants were fake, and the goodwill faker. Watching those final episodes, he said, felt like being at a retirement party no one wanted to attend, and everyone forgot to RSVP. But let's not act like Megyn and Greg were just taking cheap shots for fun. Their joint critique struck a nerve, because it pulled back the curtain on a deeper truth. Celebrities often get a free pass if they say the right things and flash a camera-ready smile. Ellen wasn't an outlier. She was the system's best-dressed symptom. Megyn's final point was clear. This wasn't about canceling Ellen. It was about ending the illusion that fame is a hall pass for accountability. She wasn't mad that Ellen existed. She was mad that the machine let her thrive while others suffered in silence.
He was like, well, that's my time. Later, Marks, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then just leave them behind to go.
Yeah, they don't have the choice. They must stay in the hell of Trump. We're out of here. By the way, Walter.
I think we could let the illegal aliens stay if we get enough of Hollywood to self-deport.
Yes. I will take 1,000.
You know? Exactly.
I'll take 1,000 Venezuelan migrants for one share.
Exactly.
Greg Gutfeld's final verdict? Hollywood has become a bizarre zoo where bad behavior gets pardoned with the right hashtag, and Ellen, despite the dance breaks and Oscar selfies, was the zookeeper who forgot the gate was wide open. When Megyn, Kelly, and Greg Gutfeld find themselves in full agreement, you know, something has gone seriously off script. These two don't typically share oxygen, let alone a synchronized takedown. But somehow, Ellen's pastel-drenched kingdom of curated kindness managed to bridge the Megyn Gutfeld divide. And that's saying something. Megyn comes in like a lawyer with a grudge and a color-coded folder labeled receipts. Her focus? The ethics? Who shielded Ellen? Who turned a blind eye? Who decided that handing out blenders and dancing on cue gave someone a free pass to psychologically steamroll their staff? For Megyn, this wasn't about cancel culture, it was a reckoning, long overdue, with the polished rot at the core of Hollywood's favorite double standard. Because here's the thing, when your average boss makes life miserable for their employees, they get fired. When Ellen does it, she gets an Emmy, a glowing profile piece, and a gift basket from Apple. And somehow, no one thought to ask why. Until now.
Trump is truly responsible for Ellen's exodus. Shouldn't that go down as his greatest achievement in the last 8? I mean, he should get the Nobel Prize.
He's literally going to have a who's who of left. I mean, the entire 80s music catalog is gone. You got Springsteen, Cher, Madonna. I just don't know why they keep showing pictures of Aaron Rodgers with blonde hair.
Meanwhile, Greg Gutfeld approached the Ellen situation like a raccoon with a microphone, snarky, uninvited, and absolutely ready to rummage through the trash. While Megyn Kelly delivered indictments with journalistic precision, Greg was busy, roasting marshmallows over the still smoldering ruins of Ellen's stage. Justice wasn't his concern. He was there to laugh at the absurdity of it all. And absurd it was. A billionaire talk show host who built an empire on the phrase "be kind," while reportedly cultivating a work environment so tense, her own security team allegedly considered requesting therapy puppies. Greg's take? It was poetic irony in pastel hues. When you fuse Megyn's scalpel with Greg's flamethrower, what you get is a full 360-degree takedown of Ellen's carefully curated image. Then came the apology. Oh, the apology. A masterclass in the art of saying nothing while pretending to say everything. Ellen delivered it like a hostage reading cue cards at gunpoint, with all the warmth of a frozen pop-up ad. If I made anyone feel... Stop right there. That phrase is the PR equivalent of a magician saying, if you thought I sawed your arm off, that's on you. It was passive voice marinated in polished regret. Megyn called it what it was. A desperate PR Hail Mary soaked in denial and wrapped in smugness. Greg, unsurprisingly, had jokes. He compared the monologue to a bad SNL sketch. It's like she forgot if she was apologizing or accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award. The internet didn't just agree, it pounced. Twitter turned into a live roast. Reddit dragged her like a Roomba caught in a power cord. Even the Facebook antis, the last holdouts of daytime loyalty, started raising eyebrows. The audience, who once clapped along to Ellen's every dad joke, began to side-eye every grin like they were watching a toddler deny stealing cookies with crumbs still on their face. People didn't just stop believing Ellen, they started actively distrusting her. And then, just like that, curtains. The Ellen DeGeneres show ended in 2022 not with a bang, but with a quiet, collective sigh of, finally. Ratings dipped. Buzz evaporated. Former guests went silent. The only ones truly mourning the show's end were the teleprompters, who missed being read with forced enthusiasm. Ellen, once the undisputed queen of daytime, vanished into the Malibu mist. Designer. Sneakers on her feet, residuals in her bank account. But her once glowing halo noticeably dimmed. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly was thriving. Ditching traditional TV turned out to be the smartest move since Netflix stopped mailing DVDs. She launched a podcast, built her own media empire, and gained millions of subscribers who preferred unfiltered, uncomfortable, brutally honest commentary over the usual celebrity fluff. It turned out people were no longer interested in sanitized smiles. They wanted truth, even if it came with sharp edges. Greg Gutfeld? The late-night wildcard with a smirk managed to eclipse traditional network hosts, armed with nothing but sarcasm, a love of chaos, and a deep disdain for Hollywood pretension. His show, Gutfeld, became a ratings juggernaut, proving that humor, mixed with common sense and a dash of irreverence, is exactly what viewers were starving for. What we're witnessing is a shift. A migration away from the old school, smile for the camera personas, and toward voices that aren't afraid to embrace the mess. Ellen represented a brand of fame that thrived on illusion. But illusions, no matter how glittery, always fade. In this post-Ellen landscape, audiences are no longer impressed by performative kindness and carefully curated humility. They want receipts, they want reality, and they wouldn't mind a roasted ego or two on the side. Megyn's final word wrapped. The saga in a bow that didn't dance. Ellen's true talent wasn't kindness, it was branding kindness so well that we forgot to question its authenticity. She didn't exit her empire with a grand finale, she fizzled out with the slow hiss of a deflating balloon. After 19 seasons of celebrity fluff and rigid grins, Ellen didn't fall. She slid awkwardly out of relevance. Megyn moved on, launching another hard-hitting episode dissecting the next media mirage. Greg got back to roasting anyone brave enough to say, content creator, without irony. And Ellen, she's likely somewhere in Malibu, wondering which staffer she's still legally allowed to text. So, what did we learn? That slogans mean nothing without action. That dancing on daytime TV doesn't absolve workplace cruelty. And most of all, that when Megyn Kelly is holding a media microscope and Greg Gutfeld is holding a sarcasm-soaked Molotov cocktail, you better cancel your afternoon taping and review your HR records. Because in Hollywood, the only thing scarier than bad press is the moment the applause dies and the questions begin.